كيفاش how I live with this is فاش كنفكر شي thoughts ولا شي decision كنحاول نشوف واش is it influenced or not. So هاد القضية ديال free will it makes me aware of what I do. This is how I live with it, and I still believe عندي واحد belief ما عرفتش واش where it's coming from, that somehow someday كاين البوسيبيليتي ديال الاويرنس الا تزاد بزاف يقدر الواحد يتيك ان اكشن اللي تكون جايه من حتى شي انفلونس.
Well, the influence would be a product of that choice would be a product of that understanding. ما يجيش من
of that high level
ما
of
يجيش من
awareness.
العدم. Exactly.
Yeah, but the choice is made from that place. Like if you forget, everything that preceded that moment, and everything that comes after that moment, then maybe the things that preceded that moment are all like made deterministically, and maybe the things that I think that's what he meant. Like after when you actually reach that level of awareness, even if it's like even reaching that level of awareness is influenced by, you know, everything that you did before and everything that influenced that everything you did before. But once you reach that level of awareness, then I don't know, maybe you can make a choice.
Maybe you can break this cycle of free will.
Well, maybe nothing's wrong with determinism. I mean, we are living in a very interconnected universe. I mean, everything influences everything, and that's kind of beautiful.
Exactly. The only way we're gonna see it wrong is, as you said earlier, of the concept of the human arrogance, that we think that we are in control of stuff. That's the only time that we can see determinism as a negative concept. If we think already that we are controlled of our own actions, then like automatically we're gonna think external stuff influencing us are the negative thing. For example,
ego wants to control.
Yeah, for example, if we take self-help books, for example, what they all agree about, that we should be in control of our life and blah 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 and all that BS. No offense, humans. No. if we took that shit literally, we're gonna think that our all experiences or like influences from our environment, anything like outside of our reach, we're gonna think it's negatively influencing us. فهمتيني؟ So it's about how we perceive things. That's all. Subjectively. And there is nothing wrong with the determinism. And
Yes.
اللي كان قال لي don't label it as pessimistic. It's not a negative. It's not a negative connotation. It's just the label of that philosophy in itself. That's all.
Well, I guess how one takes it is what makes it negative or positive. مثلا شي واحد اللي قلتي لي راه ما عندكش free will يقدر ياخذها as a way to explain his failure in life مثلا, ولا the way he is not taking effort, he may make this as an excuse that he doesn't have free will, everything is determined, so I'm lazy, I don't have to do anything. وكاين اللي غادي ياخذ, كاين people may be inspired مثلا مثلا something determined يخليك تكون inspired. مثلا عندك a problem in talking مثلا, and هاد problem جا من the environment, من يا إما من childhood ولا من family ولا من شي trauma. So it made you like that. So فاش كتعرف هاد القضيه ديال cause and effect you feel an inspiration. واش تقدر واش يقدر يكون شي تشينج ديال هاد الكوز اند ايفيكت؟ واش هاد ستيت اللي حيت هاد ديترمينيزم، هاد البلاصه اللي وصلتي ليها هي اللي خلاتك تاخذ the next action ديال تولي تدوي مزيان. مثلا
I agree.
فهمتي you have a problem in speaking that was determined by something else not by your choice، ولكن it inspires you. هاد الاكشن اللي وقعت it inspires you باش تولي تدوي مزيان. So it's not a free will باش تولي تدوي مزيان، ولكن it was inspired by something else. So a lot of action اللي كنديرو كيكونوا inspired by something else. وهاد self development word راه مبني على القضيه I am poor, it's not my choice, I was born in a poor family. So هاد باش نولي rich is influenced by being poor. It's not free will because it was influenced.
So it's like an emotional reaction within yourself that you want to change something about your life that you don't particularly like, and that really triggers that, you know, that response in yourself to make a change, right?
Well, there you have responsibility, like we discussed earlier in that situation. So you can, I mean, it's not just one choice that you can make. There's many choices. If you were poor, if you were born poor, you might, you know, like Buddha, for example, he was rich, then he became poor, or you might be poor and
vice versa.
You may be poor and become rich, or not necessarily. I mean, you might not want that. You might want something else. You might respond to it differently. You might embrace being poor and you know become a hippie or something.
ولكن دابا هاد determinants بحال كيقولوا 2+2 كتساوي 4 راه هذا ماشي اللوجيك، راه هذا it was influenced and it is not free will. مثلا كيقول لك هاد الاكزامبل اللي عطيتي ديال poor and becoming rich، كيقول لك راك ماشي انت اللي اختاريتي تكون rich، راه it was influenced. فهمتي؟ هذيك الحاجه اللي كتسحب انت راه فري ويل. وما مثلا هز لي ديك اليمين ولا اليسرى whatever you choose to left، كيقولوا لك راه ماشي انت اللي اختاريتها، راه it was determined by something else. So that's what makes it hard to break هاد theory ديال everything is determined، حيت anything اللي كتصاحبو راه free choice كيحطوا عليه ديك التايتل ديال determined، ما كيخليوكش.
Wait. What is your counter argument to that? مثلا هذا example اللي قلتي.
Yes. Well,
تاع poor or rich or اليمين ولا اليسرى. What is your counter argument to them? That determinants.
Okay. نعطيو example ونعطي my counter argument. مثلا نختاروا example ديال lifting a hand. إلا قلت لك هز ليد وانت هزيتي واحد الليد، انت كان عندك تشويس قبل ما تهز هذيك الليد، رايت؟ وهذاك
choice. It's all in my subconscious.
How?
It's all in my subconscious. اللي كنت نعملها مثلا بزاف. My subconscious اللي هز الليد ماشي انا.
Okay.
حيد لي
subconscious you're talking about the brain, right?
Yeah.
Okay. زو بدل هذا الاكزامبل ديال اليد. For example نقول حيت there's that thing like كل واحد عنده اليد اللي دومينونت على الاخرى. For example إلا عندك مثلا you know 2 items, one here and one here, and you can choose either one. Which one will you choose, and what determines which one you choose?
It depends on what are the items. شنو هما دوك items?
No, same item. Like كيما كان مثلا جوج من هادو الطربوش هذا. واحد هنايا.
صافي هذا الشيء هذه the simplest example you chose. عمرك مفرج في ألعاب العقل.
You know that show. عرفت.
Exactly. هذا راه the simplest experiment in neurology.
مثلا
اللي كيعزل لك ماشي نتايا.
مثلا نقولوا
based on color, based on smell, based on whatever
شنو انت
senses اللي عندك.
شنو انت
نعم؟
بعدا شنو انت بعدا
هادشي استسمح الانتربشن. السؤال اللي بغى يقول سعد بالنسبه لاسامه كيقول لك ان subconscious هو اللي كيتحكم في البيهافيرز والاكشنز ديالنا. دونك شنو اللي مثلا يقدر يكونترولي هاد subconscious؟ زعما شنو انت هو your brain او كاين شي حاجه اخرى اللي تقدر تتحكم في your brain. So what you are
we are a vessel.
ورا انت ما كايناش اصلا. You doesn't exist. You are just
Exactly.
it's all happening
It's
to
our
you.
ego. It's our ego.
Yeah, it's just
The
an
human-
ego. It's just an idea in your head.
Yeah, the human nature. It's so egotistic that we think that we are in control. So when our brain chooses for us, we think that we chose that. That's just.
Okay, but
I think
what are
we are our brain. What do you mean we are not like nothing?
We are not
Well,
our
like-
brain. We are our vessels. We are the vessels that contains our brain.
what's the vessel?
مثلا الوعاء.
لا عارف لكن what's the be more precise, like what's this vessel? It sounds so poetic.
كيفاش؟
Like شنو هو هاد الفيسل؟ where is it؟ فين هو؟
No,
how is it؟
we are just an idea, guys. You're just an idea. That's what you
Exactly.
are.
أولي إلا بغيتي تاخدها من مثلا إطار علمي we are just a body that contains.
Well, the brain is part of our body.
I think that to understand this, we should know the psyche of the human being, التركيبة النفسية. Like, for example, the mind, the soul, and the self. Because
Yeah, I think this question is tricky because we don't know what we are. So what is actually making choices in our life? What are we even
Guys,
to make a choice in our life? And this
I
is
have
like
a question.
it's too fucking deep.
Do you, مثلا animals, dogs مثلا واش عندهم free will or not?
Absolutely not.
They don't. حنا ما عندناش هاد الانيمالز.
For people who like I have a
So
guys. Okay,
so
let's think. Okay.
so هذوك الانيمالز علاش كيعيشوا for what?
The
For
will to
their
live.
instinct.
Survival.
Yeah, the will to
Survive.
live وسط منهم هي اللي عندهم الغريزة كتحركهم.
The will to live,
Yeah, to survive and to procreate.
reproduce.
بقاء والتوالد.
اوكي. وشنو الفرق بينه وبين الدوغ؟
بينا حنا
وبين الدوغ. حنايا عندنا consciousness طالع على الدوغ, right?
exactly. She consciousness. The only thing that differentiates us between us and animals that we are aware that we are fucked. That we are
Aware
puppets.
of what?
That we are puppets. That's it.
Aware of what? We are aware of what?
Human, unfortunately.
I think
That we
he
are
means that we have self-awareness. We can actually reflect on the things that we experience, but animals cannot.
Yes, I agree with you.
Reflecting is a mental activity.
I didn't disagree. But in terms of free will, had self-consciousness واش كتساهم بشي حاجة كتساهم في مثلا الاختيارات ديالنا؟
ما كتساهم في والو غير زايدة وصافي.
I think I disagree.
Wait, guys, I don't. Can you?
I think
can you
I
say that again?
disagree.
Okay. Elaborate.
Why do you disagree, guys?
ما سمعناش سعد, ما سمعناش سعد شنو قال أسامة.
ما سمعتش الكويشن.
كاين الفرق بين الدوغ and a human.
Oh, okay. Look, awareness. Like you said, humans are self-aware, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only difference. And animals don't think. Like being self-aware and reflecting is thinking, right? So they're kind of different.
Simply, animals don't have a mind to have a free will.
هذوك stoics.
Animals have gorillas are self-aware to an extent, I think.
And they are aware of other people as well.
Yeah. Like, well, how do we determine if an animal is self-aware? Like, if they recognize themselves in the mirror? In that case, then some animals are self-aware, because I think gorillas can do that.
What is awareness then?
Well, awareness is
هما
tricky because I think
animals عندهم consciousness غير their consciousness is limited. Our consciousness is higher than that of an animal.
like we're aware that we're aware, but maybe they're not aware
Yeah.
that they are aware.
Exactly.
أسامة قال لك هذيك حنايا aware of حنايا aware حيت بأننا aware هي اللي makes us suffer.
Exactly.
I don't think suffering has anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sufferance,
At the same time, it's useful.
It's not our subject. Sufferance is not our subject. But determinism is our subject. That are aware that we are controlled.
ستويكس عطاو واحد انالوجي زوينه على هاد الفري ويل. قال لك بحال واحد العربه غاديه ومن وراها مربوط فيها واحد الحبل كبير، وهذاك الحبل شاد واحد الدوغ مدور على عنقه. هذاك الدوغ غير تابع هذيك العربه فين ما كتمشي، وهذاك الحبل طويل بزاف. الدوغ عنده واحد تشويسز في الاتجاه اللي كيمشي فيه، ولكن ما يقدرش يتفارق على العربه. فهمتوا؟ هذيك هي الفري ويل. قال لك حنايا عندنا في اللايف according to Stoics، قال لك we are free to some extent، ولكن الا شفتي حنا ديما مربوطين بهذيك العربه، ما عمرنا غادي نحيدوا منك، تبقى غادا وحنا غير تابعيننا، حنا كنتحركوا غير من سايد تو سايد. عندنا واحد فريدم.
السيمبل ديال العربه
limitation تاع human being.
اللايف يعني determinism اللايف مجموع فيها كل شيء، الانفلونس ديال الطاتس. وقال لك حنايا داك الكلب ديال راسك في بلاصه داك الكلب يتابع هذيك العربه، وراك تاوير راك مربوط بهذاك الحبل وتابع هذيك العربه. الفرق بينك وبين الكلب غير الكلب ما واعيش وانت واعي.
ولكن
انت واعي بهذيك القنبه مربوطه في العربه قدامك، ما يمكنش توقف، الا وقفتي غادا تجرك بز منها، وكتبقى غير كتمشي غير في الجناب ديما مربوط بهذاك الحبل. بحال عندنا فري ويل في واحد تشويسز اللي صغار، اللي واخا عندنا فري تشويس في هذوك التشويسز it doesn't matter، حنا ديما مربوطين.
And that makes us suffer.
No, sufferance قبيله جبتها يونس. It's not our subject at all.
Yeah.
We're just talking about determinism here. And as you said, the example Yunus, it's such a great example to highlight that the bigger picture is that we are being like pushed or influenced externally. If you want to believe that in small, for example, frame that we are in control, you can believe that. But still, the big picture is that we are being determined to live in a way.
Small instances where you think you have control, it's just a feeling بأنك you have control. That feeling comes from the things that are happening in your life. Like, for example, when you are succeeding, when you buy a new car, you think you have it all, and so that makes you like that grants you free will. But we know that free will doesn't exist. It's just like a feeling. Feeling that you get from the experience, from a wonderful experience.
Yes, we are on the same page here, Assad.
Guys, listen, guys. I have a question for those who believe or follow the determinism philosophy. It's actually a common question when we talk about free will.
I think here we need to actually reach a conclusion and not like to defend what each of us like think. Be open-minded to like actually figure out the truth of it, but not like everyone has a position and everyone's defending the position. Like,
I think it's more exciting to defend our positions.
No.
Don't you think?
No.
It is a discussion. It is a discussion. I agree, but it makes it more exciting to
like which
counter arguments.
Yeah.
I think it's more interesting once you have a position to actually look for a counter to your position, to actually, you know, see whether your position holds up or not.
Exactly, to challenge ourselves. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, دابا إلا عرفنا راه حنا عندنا free will or we don't have it راه I think ما غادي تبدل لينا واش غتبدل لينا شي حاجة في حياتنا ولا لا.
Well, maybe. I mean, I believe that it's better to know how things are and work according to how things are. Like, for example, if you think you have a free will and you don't have a free will and things don't work out the way you wanted them to work out, you know, you can have that assurance that, or like that comfort that you don't actually have much control over what happens, you know, or where you direct your life, and like, you know, you're just playing out the best you can.
I think Salah wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, I was asking, but someone interrupted the question.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, there's a problem. My question for those who believe in or their determinisms. It's a problem of free will in criminology. Why do you think, or why do we punish criminals or serial killers, for example, if they have no control over their actions or behavior? I would like to know, how do you guys explain that? The question for Yusuf and Usama, because I think they are the ones who believe that there is no such free will.
Can I answer that question?
Yeah, sure.
So like I said earlier, there are two ways we are being influenced. There are outside influences and there are inside influences. The outside influences can be authorities, can be rules, can be harsh weather, can be the lack of food, right? The inside influences, family as well. There's so many examples. The inside influences can be desires, can be trauma, can be thoughts, can be emotions. So we don't have a free will because we are influenced by these two. The first one is more clear because we want to do something, but the outside influences prevent us from doing, or we want to do something because the outside influences influence us to do that thing, right? So when the outside influences are gone, when we are not in a society, when there is no parents around to tell us what to do, when there is no police or there are no laws, كيبقى دوك inside desires كتولي تبغي to fulfill them. So you go after food, you go after pleasure, you go, walk around, do whatever you want. You want to belong to somewhere, to a society, to people who, you belong to. Safi, you feel like you did the thing that you desired. You think you have free will to do what you want, but in reality, you are doing what you are desiring because when you were a child, you were influenced to want to have those desires. Wallah, as a human being, your biological limits require you to have those desires in order for you to survive.
Yeah, as Usama
so that
said.
means we don't have the right to put criminals in jail because they have no control over their actions or they have no free will.
In a sense,
in a big picture, I would agree with you, yes, because it makes life meaningless. At least that's what I think.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
It's a common question.
You got me thinking.
Look, Salah, I understand your question. The reason why we punish criminals is to just minimize suffering. We don't want other humans to suffer. And I think that's a problem in the criminal justice system, because they don't recognize the fact or acknowledge the fact that free will doesn't exist. They are executing their system as though there is free will, and those criminals actually had the freedom to do what they did. So that's why they punished them.
Yeah, and that like gives you the chance to like judge them as bad or evil, whereas people who are evil were just like they had different upbringing or different influences, and they were molded up that way. And Like, for example, you can think of the worst person, like the most hideous criminal, for example. And if you trace his story all the way back, you see how every single unfortunate
Exactly, it's
event.
just a product. It's just a
Yeah.
product. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a product of his environment, and he didn't have much choice in the matter. And so, yeah, actually, that does question the justice system and how he treats criminals as people who are actually evil and not just like maybe mentally sick or psychologically sick or people
Yeah.
that need help.
I agree, totally agree.
ويل دابا فاش سمعت انا هاد الشيء ديال determinism for me بحال وليت خلينا باش pessimistic وديت كنسول واش pessimism is the way to live يعني بحال before كنبغي ندير things كنبغي نكون بشر و right now I feel بحال دابا هاد الكور اللي درنا بحال كتقولوا like حنايا كندويو دابا because it was determined حنايا دابا في هاد الكور because it is the way it is يعني ماشي حنا اللي اختارينا نكونوا في هاد الكور بزاف اسباب اللي وقعوا اللي خلاونا كاملين نتجمعوا دابا ونهضروا.
Last week discussion is what determined today's topic.
Exactly.
Both, Eunice, both.
Exactly,
Both,
yeah.
Eunice. Yeah, like when you like the example that you gave of the dog and العربة, it's perfect. Like it's clearly exposes the fact that there is determination, okay, or determinism. Sorry, there is determinism, but there is also a free will that is limited. So this is it. This is the conclusion that I have to.
Yeah.
So can we conclude that we all agree that there is no free will?
limited كيف بزاف
Can't agree. Everyone has their opinions.
Yes,
Everyone
yes.
has their.
Yeah.
I think it's best to keep an open mind. Like, you know, these things change. The way we
Yes,
think about things change.
Yes, exactly. We don't have to agree on anything.
Yeah, you can't agree on anything. Like
Osama.
Nothing can be same for everyone.
Osama,
Yeah,
is
Eunice, what else?
pessimism the way you think is the best way to look at the world?
I never said that. I just talked from a personal background.
I know. Well,
because
sorry.
that's the area where I have a lot of readings from.
واش pessimism جات من knowing that you don't have free will ولا العكس؟
Exactly, that we are puppets, as someone قبيلة قال. I guess you فقط.
Yeah, I said that. You give me credit, guys, for
Puppet demo, we are controlled.
How else would we have it? Like
yeah, I accept that. I accept this to live by this concept in my life, and I'm not preaching it or promoting it. I just get my view in the world and processing the world around me.
Let's try
through the scope.
Paradigm.
Yeah. Let's try to imagine a life where there is free will. And what would that look like?
Amazing.
I can kill my professor.
Free will.
Yeah.
If there is a free will, I think all of us would vanish. There won't be a continuation of first of all of the human race, because as I said, هي the will to live, like life as now, like from the start of life till now, it's going by itself. We are just vessels. So if we are starting to have, for example, free will, we would choose to eradicate each other and ourselves because of the horror in this world.
Yeah, life is basically like a movie, and we're just characters that are supposed to.
تماما.
دكتور ستون.
شنو هي؟
دكتور ستون شكون اللي تفرج فيه واحد الانيم؟
ما كملتوش. ما عجبنيش.
دكتور وات؟
دكتور ستون.
دكتور ستون.
ستون لا ماني سامع به.
واي
اش بان اللي شافو شنو بان لك داك الكاركتير ديال انه واش كتبان لك هذيك فري ويل لحقاش كاين واحد بروتاغونيست والاخر لا واحد كيبغي كاين حيت غيصايبوا واحد الترياق ما شنو هو داك واحد كيبغي يفيق غير دوك الناس صحاح زعما اللي غادي يقدر يكونتروليهم وغادي يقدروا انهم يحكموا والاخر باغ كونطخ الاخر باغي لحقاش المهم اللي ما في ليستوار نشرح ليه ليستوار بحال جات واحد باش موجه هذيك رجع العالم كله متحجر ومن بعد واحد هذاك الدكتور فاق ما بدات كتقطر عليه واحد اللعيبه داك التحجر تحيد منه وفاق فاش فاق بغى يعاود يفيق دوك الناس خاصو يقلب على واحد الترياق باش يفيق دوك الناس فاش فيق دوك الناس فيق ما عرفتش واش بالغلط ولا ما عرفتش ماشي فيق واحد السيد اللي عنده صحيح وعنده المهم صحيح بزاف ولاو بحال هذا باغي يولي ليدر والاخر حتى هو باغي يولي ليدر اللي بغيت نقولوا ان داك الاخر داك الصحيح ولا كيفيق شكون ولا كيفيق الناس اللي غادي يقدروا يعاونوه بحال كاين
بحال هيز ادفانسينغ في
الالمان كان البلان اللي كان طرا في الالمان فاش كانوا شي معاقين وكذا هتلر كان كيحيد دوك المعاقين ودوك اللي عندهم ديزابيليتي كيقشلهم كيخلي غير الراس المزيانه
But that's not an example of free will in my opinion.
باقي ما لقيتوش
لا دابا انا غير غادي بعد
غادو على الانيم.
كمل لينا كمل
نكمل دابا فين كاين هذا الفري ويل وانه داك خاينه داك الكاركتر الثاني داك اللي صحيح وكذا كيفيق غير الصحه فهمتيني باغ كونطخ الاخر داك الدكتور كيفيق فهمتي الناس كاملين بحال الكاركتر الثاني عنده ديك الفري ويل انه يفيق بحال يكب الترياق على هذا ولا يكب الترياق على هذا ما عرفتش
دابا هنا كاين كلير اكزامبل اوف تشويس واحد اختار واحد الفئه يفيقهم واحد اختار فئه اخرى او لا اختار كل شيء ورا هذاك التشويس الصاد راه اتس نوت فري ويل قلتي خونا شرير ياك ورا هذاك الشر اللي فيه راه هو اللي اختار الصاد راه ماشي هو
إلا صراحة إلا جينا كنفسروا كاع هاد الأمور بهذه الطريقة غادي نبقاو في واحد الدائرة مغلقة يعني ما عمرنا غادي نخرجوا منها أي حاجة تقدر تقول عندها واحد
ولكن أنا باقي داك الاكزامبل بحال ما عطانيش اكسبلانيشن داك الاكزامبل ديال جوج من هادو وحده هنايا واش ندير فيهم غتختار ذاتس تشويس ولكن ما ما كنشوفش what would influence that choice because both choices are like they're equal weighted they have the same weight.
Saad, just because you're unaware of the factors that influences your choice doesn't mean that free will exists.
Are you aware of them? Tell me.
Yeah.
You cannot be aware of all the factors.
Well, it's just imagination then. You're just imagining it.
What are these facts?
Huh? What?
The question for Yusuf, I guess. What are these facts that makes us aware of something?
مثلا science كيقول لك
You said you can't be aware of all facts. So at least what are they?
That's a simple factor وأنك your body is made of trillion cells. هاد cells are acting in a way to influence the action that you're gonna take. So that's just a simple factor that you're not aware of. all chemical reactions that are going on your brain that you're not even aware of, emotions that you're feeling right now, your own predispositions, your personality. شحال من حاجة، كاين بزاف ديال factors.
guys بلاتي sorry
مم.
الا كان everything is determined على so علاش ما نقدروش نبريديكتيو الفيوتشر ديال someone
Because we cannot know
ممكن
the factors.
listen
Because we can.
راه determinism انايا as far as choice is concerned, we are talking about about free will. we're not talking about القدرية ديال الدين for example, that we are predestined or destined to live in such a way. فهمتيني؟ determinism basically الحتمية فهمتي؟ ماشي حاجة محتمة لك، انت ماشي انت اللي كتختارها، باش ما يكونش خلطة الصاد.
اوكي
Well,
Yeah,
إلا جمعتي كاع الفاكتورز غيولي بحال الدستني, you know, like you can chart a path, you know, just by.
دابا علاش حنا we think there is free will it's because there are so many factors, infinite amount of factors. داكشي علاش it seems as though there is freedom, but there isn't, because all these factors we know they are just cause and effect. They are just a chain of cause and effect. This is how the physical world function, just cause and effect. So there is no freedom.
yes هاد القضيه اللي قال سعد ديال imagine a world where there is free will. I think this is a good thing to ponder about, to imagine هاد الورد كيفاش غادي يكون يعني كيفاش الواحد غادي يعيش فيه. نتخيلوا حنايا as characters هاد الكاركتر اللي عندنا
الا واحد تسمح سير
تزادينا في واحد الورد اللي فيه الفري ويل، كيفاش غادي نكونوا؟ أسامة شرحها ولكن
how would you know? How would you know بلي عندك free will? Like
if there's a free will, then I think there will be no past, no memories,
no غادي يكونوا ولكن
according to
I guess
it's so hard. Yeah, it's so hard.
غادي يكون واحد الاويرنس اكثر من هاد الاويرنس اللي عندنا دابا. غتولي كتفكر في الطاط لا ماشي كتفكر في الطاط، كتعرف الطاط اللي غادي تفكر فيها قبل ما تفكر فيها.
Exactly, it's impossible basically. It's beyond our human nature. So.
I mean, thoughts don't have to influence you. I keep saying this.
ولكن ما قصدش influence، قصدت انك you don't control them. ما كتعرفش فاش غادي تفكر next. They
don't and they don't control you necessarily.
ولكن it's not by your choice. ما كيجيوش by your choice.
Then what are your choices? Where do your choices come from if your thoughts don't control your thoughts and desires?
From you. And what is you?
Well, like, what is you? What is you?
That's the question. I told you earlier. What is you?
Yunus shared this question.
From my meditation, I know me is not my thoughts. I know I am there. Even when I'm sleeping in deep sleep, I know I am there.
ولكن سعد like you don't ask about some thoughts ولكن you ask about other thoughts. ضروري ما غاديش اكسي على الثoughts.
Well, كاين ناس اللي ما جاتهم حتى thoughts. كاين I mean like yogis, monks, these like fucking super powerful beings that I'm not like
it's a higher level of thought. You can never reach a thought.
Don't say never. Don't disappoint me like that. Well, I don't know. Just go on. Maybe one day I'm مع سعد قولوا عنقول له انما
listen as a human being it's beyond the human الصاد. You reach the superhuman ديك الساعة فاش كتوصل
well what is human
بحال دوغ ولا هيومن ولا عنده الكونشسنس ديال هيومن.
Listen, you like we were apes that according to evolution like we were apes or something. Like humans are a completely different thing, right? And humans right now and humans in the future might be a completely different thing too. We're still evolving and we haven't like reached our pinnacle of evolution. And I'm saying that a lot of people actually have had experiences. I mean, I haven't been in their experience to actually verify this, but I'm not gonna. ما كدبومش. I don't know if this is true, but some people have experiences that they haven't had thoughts like for days, and they still act like based on what I mean. In my meditation, I know there is a clear distinctions between me and the thinking me or the thoughts and being pulled out by my thoughts. Like I know that I can still act without my thoughts, like just based on, or I don't know what it is, to be honest. It's just
Guys,
the concept of روح.
Awareness.
Yes, exactly. This is what I was going to refer to again. Like we finished by this question. We ended up with this question that is, what is you? And Fatal Zahra mentioned this idea of desires, and I said acting upon desires is a free will. So free will, desires, emotions, the psyche in general. Before I leave, I have a suggestion. Why don't we discuss for a future topic? Why not, inshallah, this idea of the human psyche? What is the human psyche composed of? Like the soul, the self, the mind, the body, etc. So if you don't mind, I'm just suggesting that we have this as a future project, inshallah.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yes, that's
good.
actually a good idea.
Who are we?
What are we?
We are
Yes.
who we are.
As Alan once
My name is
said,
Jeff.
you are the entire universe, experience in itself. You're the a part and at the same time the whole. But
Wait.
to
In that case, you have free will because you are everything that influences you. Because you are the entire universe experiencing itself. So
double mushkil, we live as though we are separate from the universe. If we lived with the universe, that we are not just a part but the whole universe, then in that case you will be in the flow state. The concept was mentioned earlier by our friend.
Yes. The Tao.
The Tao. Yeah.
ضرب لك شي 5 MEO DMT. شنو وقع؟
Yeah, دابا I guess إلا زدنا غنبقاو ندورو في the same cycle. So اللي عنده شي حاجة بغا يقولها شي حاجة ما هضرناش عليها.
دراري واحد السلام عليكم بعدا دراري واحد البلان راك كتبتو قبيله في ميساج كنظن واقيلا ما قريتوش دابا بزاف
قريتو.
شكون اللي قراه
يا
انا قرينا
انا قريته
دابا هاد البلان اسمحوا لي حيت كتمشات ليا كونيكسيون داكشي علاش دابا بزاف ديال الناس هاد البلان هذا كيبقاو حيت من قبيله كدويو على الدين واللعيبات كاين بزاف ديال الناس كيبقاو يدخلوا الدين في سميتو كيبقاو يدخلوا الدين بشي حاجه ضروري ما كيعلقوا فهمتي وهاد البلانات هادو فهمتي ما هما مزيانين في واحد الحاجات وما مزيانينش في واحد الحاجات بحال دابا شي واحد كيفشل في شي بلان ولا في شي حاجه وكيقول لك راه القدر فهمتي يعني علاش كيقولوا كذاك زعما باش يقنع راسو باش يقنع راسو في الفامبلومون زعما باش وهاد البلانات الظاهره كنلقاو حنا بزاف في الكولتور ديالنا فهمتي
Yes.
It's their business anyways.
توري
عندنا بزاف هاد البلان في الثقافه ديالنا فهمتي وبعض المرات حنا كنكون واعيين بهذا الشيء واخا كتكون عارف هاد المعلومه هادي ضروري ما كيطرا لك شي بلان بحال ما اللي كيخليه يبرر لك داك الفشل ديالك فهمتي وهذا الشيء انا كنقول بانه زعما يعني بولشيت ماشي شي حاجه اللي مزيانه دونك وهاد البلان كان بعد بزاف ديال الناس منهم انايا زعما كنديروا شي حوايج بحال هكذا بلا ما كنحسوا فهمتي يعني شي بحال نعطيك مثال بسيط. ملي كتبغي تعلم شي حاجه وكتفشل كتبقى دير السبب بانك ما عندكش ماتيريال ديال داكشي ولا ما عندكش شي حاجه اللي غتخدم بها، فهمتي. كتبقى تلقى بزاف ديال الاعذار باش انت ما تتعلمش لداكشي. هادو من بين الاسباب. كاين اللي كيقول لك لا انا راه ما تزاديش باش ما نفهمش هادشي، تزاديش باش من عندي مولات اخرين عندي، فهمتي. ماشي كيعطي واحد البليف اللي بانه انا غيوصل لديك الحاجه اللي بغيت يتعلم لها ولا شي حاجه. وهذا البلان هذا لاحظتو راه واحد العائق كبير، يعني راه اكثريه ديال الناس، يعني بزاف ديال الناس كيعانيو منه، سواء في الدراسه ديالهم سواء في كلشي.
يا بزاف كيقولوا كيسبيوه بانهم ما عندهمش فري ويل، داكشي علاش ما كيحاولوش يديروا شي حاجه.
ولكن hold on, if someone fails في حاجة, then did he have a free will to not actually fail? Like إذا شي حد فشل وقال أنا فشلت because I don't have free will, isn't he right? I mean,
True.
isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, didn't that happen? Like, could he actually come back in time and do something differently? Because if he could do something differently, like, you know, you said في الأول.
Can I answer this question?
Yeah.
I think the free will, one quote unquote free will, but that situation to change comes from the awareness inside the person of himself, with his level of honesty with himself. مثلا I struggle with studying. I'm always procrastinating and I'm always finding it stressful to study. قبل كنت كنقول screw this, I don't have friends around me to help me study, ولا the teacher is difficult, ولا I'm too depressed to study. دابا it's different. Instead of blaming things, I try to analyze the situation. What is it that I'm doing wrong? What is it wrong with and work on it. So the people who don't change they don't change the situation. They fail and they don't try again to succeed is related to their beliefs. هي الأولى هذيك الawareness نتاع خاصني I need to analyze to troubleshoot the situation in order for me to change it. هي ما كتكونش. So this concludes with the more knowledge you have, the more quote unquote freedom of will you have to get what you want. What do you think?
When we failed in something, we don't want to take responsibility of that fail. Like ديما كنبغيو الفيل ديالنا fails ديالنا لشي حاجه داك لا بسبب هذه داكشي علاش طرا بسبب هذا داكشي علاش فهمتي. So I think هذه عندها علاقه بالتربيه.
I think that we have a free will regarding what we do, but we don't have a free will, or we don't have control over the consequences or the results. So, and this is also mentioned in Stoicism that you have mentioned earlier, Yunus.
هاد القضية سعد يقولوا أنا ما بغاتش باقي عندي في دماغي ديال تقدر واحد ديال كاينه كنت خايل إلا الواحد زاد عنده الوعي بزاف لدرجة ولا واعي بكاع الانفلونسز اللي عنده، يقدر هذاك خونا اللي تابع هذيك القنبه اللي مربوطه ليه بعنقو يقدر يمشي يقطعها ويهرب ويبقاش تابع يا بحال. دابا الكويشنيز واش في الباس دابا اللي شفنا الهيستوري هادو اللي كيدعيو الانلايتمنت واش كيفاش كيشوفوا راسهم، واش فري ولا ناش فري؟ زعما كاين the greatest of humanity اللي بانوا في هذا الباس before us millions of years، هادوك the greatest of them كيفاش كيشوفوا راسهم؟ واش كانوا كيشوفوا راسهم free or not free؟ That's a good question to search.
Maybe they feel that they are less free than all of us. Maybe, I don't know.
Exactly. الوعي الشقي، كل ما زاد الوعي كل ما زاد الشقاء.
هذوك enlightened people that just accepted the fact that there is no free will and they lived accordingly. Their life was very devoid of suffering.
I guess إلا قلبنا وشنو عرفناهم شنو قالوا على حياتهم. I guess we are no better than them حيت millions of years والله شوف humanity دازت غادي نستافدوا منهم بزاف. ولكن حنايا life is a chance. every one of us is a chance. maybe يقدر شي واحد فينا يولي شي حاجه ما عمرها كانت في الهيستوري. who knows. so خصنا نشوفوا الباس هادو اللي دازوا في الباس شنو كانوا كيقولوا على راسهم and see what is there in this life.
شنو كيقول سادغورو على الفري ويل؟
شنو كيقول على الفري ويل؟ باقي ما فاهموش مزيان. من داكشي اللي فاهم من وان فيديو شفتو كيقول دوا على الكارما في الفري ويل، دخل فيها الكارما، قال على الكوز اند افكت. وقال كيقولوا بانه كاين واحد الفري ويل somehow في واحد الحاجه، في واحد جزئيه، كاين واحد الفري ويل جزئيه، ولكن most of the time it's not.
واخا I have a question بالنسبه للناس اللي تيامنوا زعما بالفكره ديال ان we are not our conscious, we are not our brains. Let's like assume that someone lost his mind. So what controls? I mean, you guys say that our consciousness is what influences our behavior, our actions. Where if someone has lost his mind, what influences his actions and behaviors?
What do you mean lost his mind? Like become crazy?
Lost his mind.
He can, people who like they lost their mind, like they can't, you know, ناس مثلا شي واحد
صلاح عطي اكزامبل ناير شيخ
لا ماشي ناير شيخ. زعما شي واحد مثلا يعني lost his mind، ما بقاش عنده control over، زعما ما بقاش كيفكر، لا ما بقاش شي واحد تشوف واحد حمق غادي في الطريق غير
هذاك الحمق
نقدروا نقولوا داك الحمق عنده الفري ويل علينا حنا.
لا ويس
can you mute؟
لا زعما اللي قال ان ما كاينش فري ويل. So
well I doubt هذاك اللي حمق doesn't have thoughts or emotions or is outside of it. Like the person that lost his mind, he probably didn't lose his mind. His mind just became very dysfunctional. People who become crazy, they don't think, or like they don't you know, thoughts don't come, emotions don't come. No, I think they just like their thoughts and everything else is like very dysfunctional or like very deluded in comparison to, you know, the general state of mind that we all live in.
إلا مشيتي للسبيطار الحماق تلقى أن كاع دوك اللي مسطين راه متسطاو بشي حاجة في الباس.
Yeah, but they're free will, like what influences them to react in a certain way.
وهذاك الشيء اللي كيرياكتيو على داك الشيء اللي وقع لهم في الباس. مثلا شي مرا فقدات الشيلدرن ديالها كتولي كتخيلهم في الرياليتي وما ما كاينينش.
هادوك يوليو more like under the mercy of their minds. I mean, not more, we're all under the mercy of our minds, but they're still under the mercy of their minds and their past, their emotions. So بغيتي تقول like those people who actually lose their minds يعني ما كيف they don't have thoughts or like they have a clear head, like meditation masters or some shit. Those maybe, I don't know how they take their actions or from what they take their actions. Maybe just intuition, I don't know.
Yes, actually, those crazy people, I think that they simply don't have a reason. And I think that reason has to do with free will. So when you have a reason, and when you reason a certain way, it influences your free will. What are you going to choose?
What reason is influence through? Guys, when do you want to end this? Sorry to interrupt. I believe some of us are getting tired, So let's pick a time to
كي
end
هو
this. Let's
I
pick
guess
a
we just have to like suggest topics for the next week.
نختاروا التايم مثلا نساليو مع 11 و 15 ولا 30 ولا اونس اللي بغيتي.
20.
المهم نحددوا التايم باش فاش يوصل التايم نساليو نقولوا غير داكشي اللي
15 is
مهم.
good for me.
So 15, okay. Now
Okay.
feel free to share anything you want for this time. Well, the last question, إلا ما كانش عندكم والو, how this talk changed you? For me تعلمت شي حوايج على الديترمينيزم ما كنتش واعي بهم. وهاد الايديا ديال imagine a world where there is free will, a lot of things اللي استفدت اللي غادي نبقى نفكر فيهم مزيان من بعد. And I feel I am pessimistic a little bit, so غادي نحاول نرجع the way I am if I can, the way I was. What about you guys?
I think it
Well,
hasn't changed anything in me personally, because if anything, it reinforced what I already believed in. Because I found some people out there who are for determinism, like Salah and others. No, not Salah. I mean Wissam.
It made me kind of connect some dots. Like, I think the answer to this question is dependent upon the answer to many other like kind of existential questions that we don't even know the answer to. Like bigger questions, like who we are, for example. And
Is
yeah.
this the غادي نهضروا على هاد topic next time, who we are.
Damn.
yeah.
I don't
Next week
Yeah,
we
I
are
don't
getting
think
enlightened.
we are going to do well.
I don't think we're
I
gonna
really
answer
think that
that.
we should tackle this idea of the human psyche. Like, what is
Yeah.
it composed of?
خاصنا
يا خصنا
إلا كنا
نأطرو
Yeah,
الموضوع
I think-
شويه
exactly
كلشي
إلا
have to
كنا
vote.
باش نكونوا قادين إلا كنا غنهضروا
Yeah.
عليه خصنا نحددوا علاش غادي نهضروا باش يكون داكشي منظم.
أنا
Feel
كنظن
free, guys.
my suggestion is to take a break from these philosophical topics or something. Talk about something like you know,
ماشي شي حاجة practical.
something
شي
like
حاجة
that.
اللي has a direct influence on our life, like
حاجة اللي كنديروها daily.
like for example, like
Like-
maybe like business في المغرب,
Yeah. Financial freedom, for example.
Yeah,
financial freedom.
ما
Yeah.
نبقاوش في نفس
Like
الحاجة
online
ديما.
versus offline businesses, maybe.
Good.
If you have any experience with that.
Actually, guys, I think this topic is useful. Like, it gives you a reality check, so you can actually chill back and don't try to resist what life throws at you, because it's all determined.
Yes, and just to answer your question, Eunice, so I don't think that my point of view has changed, but this talk has added something to me, which is that it just made me simply realize that there are different points of views that exist in this world.
Yeah. هاد التوبيك ديال who we are is big. مثلا إلا بغيتو شي حاجة practical مسك جلسن إلا عجباتكم ديال مثلا how to end suffering بحال هاد الانجار وهاد الشيء كنقول غير انا داكشي دابا قلت غير داكشي اللي نقدر نعطي فيه ليكم مثلا شي حاجة practical مثلا
I
ولا
like this. Yeah,
ولا
let's talk about something like this.
ولا عبد الاله اللي معنا في الجروب انا لات بقاو كيسولوا على القضيه ديال الجولز ودابا جاي 2021 مثلا بلانين ولا stuff like that whatever you guys want